Welcome to the Awesemo Early Bird Podcast. I'm your old pal Emac, back after my vacation, my soiree down to Tampa, which is very nice, and now potentially in the 5-year plans of me moving south for the FSTA. It was a good time, got to hang out with a bunch of people, and I'm joined with one Adam Ship My Money Share as we break down a 4-game Saturday slate. There are 4 games starting at 8 o'clock. We are going to pass on the 6 o'clock game between the Spurs and the New Orleans Pelicans, but we've got some interesting stuff coming on. Adam, what happened while I was gone for almost a week?
Not a whole lot. More basketball, more injuries, more dumb stuff happening in NBA DFS.
All right. Well, speaking of injuries, if you are listening to this tonight, we are, of course, recording this on Friday night for the Saturday games. I am just in the middle of a draft right now because over there on draft, they have Joel Embiid projected for 0 because he was out for rest purposes his last game. They haven't brought him, but he is haven't put him back in their projections, so he is probable to play. The only risk you're taking is if you select him, he is listed as out. So if he is indeed out, you will not be able to swap. Over there on draft, you can only swap people that are questionable or probable. So if they are doubtful or out, you cannot swap off them. But in the meantime, we have a boatload of injury news here looking for the 4-game slate. We have Memphis and Denver. Both are on a back-to-back. Both are at home for both of their games. We know that Victor Oladipo is going to be out for the rest of the year. A gruesome knee/quad injury that was not pretty. It was so not pretty that they actually put a towel over him, so I didn't quite see what happened there, Adam. I was out at the bars and at various events, shall we say, so I did not get to see exactly what happened. Before we get into the rest of the news and notes, what happened with him? Were you able to figure that out yet?
Not really sure. The replays I saw, you couldn't really see what happened other than, obviously his knee gave out, but you couldn't really see what happened when he went down.
Yeah, when they said something like ruptured quad or something was the last I saw. So anytime you lose your Achilles, your quad, your calf, etc., it can make whatever it's attached to and the other half is not attached, it's going to make the half that's still attached and the half that's not attached do some really funky things. So shout out to him. Hope he is able to make it back. Let's see. We have Gary Temple, who is left Friday's game with the shoulder injury. Adam has not been dreaming of him lately, but he may not be on the back-to-back. We have Joakim Noah out for personal, but he was back, played some on Friday. We'll have to see what happens with Saturday. Kevin Huerter is going to be back. He's probable coming off the neck injury. Kyrie Irving is probable. He's been dealing with the flu. Al Horford also probable. He was out the last game for rest. Jonas Jerebko will be out the next 1 to 3 games. Congrats to him and his wife. They are expecting a kiddo, so that is where he will be. Jokic, that would be Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, is back from his pugilistic ways. He's served his suspension, so he should be fresh and ready to go on Saturday. We have Jimmy Butler, who's seeing a specialist on Saturday for his sore wrist. He is with the team, but doubtful on their road trip. Wilson Chandler is out with a hamstring injury. Let's see, mentioned about Joel Embiid. He should be back. Nick Stauskas, doubtful with a knee injury. DeMar DeRozan already ruled out with his own knee injury. Davis Bertans out for personal reasons. And then LaMarcus Aldridge, questionable with the risk. Those guys are in that earlier game. Adam, before we get started, I got to give a little shout out to all the people I got to hang out with down there in Tampa. So shout out to Dave, the other Dave, Alex, Allie, Cam, Kathy, DB, Eddie, the other Eddie, Howard, Jason, Jeff, the other Jeff, Jordan, Manny, let's see, TJ, Mike, the other Mike, Monkey Knife Fight, Ray, Rob, Rusty, Ted, Tom, Stevie, and of course, everyone's favorite pugilist, The Siege.
Sounds like a good time.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot. Your old pal stayed out well past his bedtime 3 nights in a row. The first night we didn't get back to our Airbnb until 3:30 a.m. The next night it was about 2 a.m. And then the last night we were savvy with it. I was staying with my buddy Rusty, and we got back around midnight, but ended up shooting the shit until about 1:30 in the morning. So, hey, plans laid aside, did not go too well. And then this morning on Friday, I had to get up at 5, take my wife to the airport. So I'm going to be ready to go to bed here shortly. But we've got a 4-game slate. Let's cover that. Jumping on in here, let's go right to point guards. A couple of your favorites here. We have Damian Lillard going against Atlanta. We have Ben Simmons going into Denver to playing at altitude. And then Kyrie Irving, who should be back with the flu. Those guys are all at the tippy top of the chart. Heck, let's throw in Steph Curry here in his matchup at Boston, even though he has multi-position eligibility. What do you like from that quartet of guards?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a great spot for Dame going against Atlanta, but really can't overlook Ben Simmons with, no Joel Embiid, no Jimmy Butler, no Wilson Chandler.
No. Embiid should be back because I've now got him in 4 of my drafts here over there on draft. So fingers crossed. He is probable, but still there is always a question.
I thought he was ruled out like 8 hours ago.
Oh boy, that could be why he's not projected. So let me look into that because, hey, free money from your old pal Emac here. Go ahead and finish off with the guards.
Yeah, Joel Embiid, Wilson Chandler, and Jimmy Butler all out tomorrow.
Oh, I thought I was getting all clever there. Apparently I should have just gone back to bed. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, so I mean, it should really be the Ben Simmons show going at Denver. Denver on a back-to-back. Simmons price tag at 9,600, but really should just be doing everything for this team. So really, I think have to like him a lot at the top. Kyrie Irving probable in a decent spot against Golden State. A good defensive team, but also a fast-paced team. So I think him and Lillard are very similar. I think Simmons is my favorite out of the group.
You are correct, by the way. Embiid ruled out. I thought today was the 26th. It's still the 25th. The games are on the 26th. His note was from, 8 hours ago, and he was, in fact, ruled out on the 25th. Oh, sometimes you can get a little too clever. All right. Well, now that I know those teams are in the toilet, shall we say, let's look for some value here amongst our point guards. We do have Darren Collison checking in nicely at 5,600. We have Marcus Smart, 4,600. He's point guard, shooting guard eligible. We know that we should see Kyrie and Horford back, but they're going to need him to guard some of the guards over there on Golden State. And then we have Jeremy Lin checking in at 4,200. He has had a few moments. We're going to have to take a chance on a few players here with just an 8-team player pool. What do you like here from the bargain bin?
Yeah, I mean, there should be potentially some minutes for TJ McConnell with Butler out. Maybe Redick playing some more time at the 3, opening up more minutes for McConnell. Jeremy Lin's been playing more. I like him against Portland. I think you could get 24, 26 minutes from him. We've been seeing him play alongside Trae Young more often. So, I think that's a fine play. And then with Collison, it's not a good spot against Memphis. Obviously the Oladipo usage has to go somewhere, but it's still going to be pretty tough to get to a $5,600 price tag there, I think.
All right. Fair enough with that. Let's move on to shooting guard before we get the reminder. Early Bird is the promo code. Go over there to osmo.com, upper right. Click the join. Pick any month-long subscription package and get 50% off. Put in your information. Type in Early Bird, all one word, in the promo code field, and you will be all set, ready to rock. You'll get Slack, all the projections, all the premium articles, the ownership projections, which are amazing. Alex Baker, you know him as Osmo. You get his grades and ranks for showdown slates, all the sports, the main slates, the sub slates, etc. And Fast Eddie Fair will be in the mix as well with his rankings for NBA. Promo code EarlyBird. All one word. Adam, as we move here to shooting guard, Jamal Murray, 6,800. That is very intriguing. CJ McCollum, 6,600. DraftKings pricing going against Atlanta. We like that one. Atlanta's going to be up in the Pacific Northwest. Those are the first 2 guys that are at the top of my list. Heck, let's throw in Klay Thompson. He of the 10 3-pointers in a row, a new NBA record. I think they set NBA 3-point records for teams, for the league, for individuals about every 48 hours this season, it seems like.
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible. It's tough to prioritize Klay. It's tough to really prioritize anyone from Golden State right now because of the addition of Cousins, and it just taking usage away from everyone. You had Klay be really, really productive for a stretch where he was playing with that second unit, but now he's playing with Cousins there too. So that hurts him a little bit. The price tag still gives you some upside, but just keep in mind that it's a difficult matchup and there are a lot of mouths to feed on Golden State. I really like CJ McCollum at 6,600. Great matchup against Atlanta. Should play 34 to 36 minutes. I think he's my favorite out of that group.
All right. Last guy, super duper cheapy, Corey Brewer. Hey, it's revenge. He's going against one of the 9 teams he has played for. It's going against Denver, and we already know, as I am sadly learning, that Joel Embiid is out. We know that Wilson Chandler is out. Talk to me about Brewer as a cheapie to help facilitate things until we get better news from our litany of injured players.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exciting, but the minutes should certainly be there with all these guys out. He's still really inexpensive at 3,800 on DraftKings. It's a 4-game slate, so the reason not to play him would have to do more with ownership than with anything else. But it's tougher to find value on these slates, so I don't have a problem with him.
All right, last cheapie that's sort of popping out here is one TJ McConnell. He is going against Denver. Another Philly guy, as we've seen with those guys out for the minutes, he could be an intriguing option. He has topped 20 DraftKings points in, 5 of his last 6 games, 4 of his last 5. Seems relatively solid. He's almost locked into 22 minutes, which he has played, he's played between 21 and, wait for it, 21 and a half in 5 of his last 6 games. So let's pencil him in for that. Thoughts on him? He'll fill out a guard or either guard spot for you on DraftKings.
Who are you referring to?
TJ McConnell. We're going deep, Adam. We're going
deep.
No,
I think he could potentially get a couple more minutes with everyone out too. With Chandler out, you could see Simmons playing more time at the 4, which would let McConnell run point more often. So I think you could probably get 26 to 28 minutes from McConnell.
Wait, Simmons at the 4. Come on. He's point guard and small forward eligible. We're talking about him playing at the 4. Good God, positionals basketball. I love it. Hey, reminder, we are going to do the DFS strategy show. That will be Adam and myself around 11:15 or so. Check us out on the Awesemo.com YouTube channel. We will be going in excruciating detail because, heck, there's only 4 games. Last I saw, Laffy and Josh Engelman ran for an hour and 45 minutes on the Thursday 4-game slate. Adam, I think we can do it in about an hour. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
All right, let's talk about a guy we haven't mentioned yet, Kevin Durant, going into Boston, 9,200. He is on one of his efficient scoring streaks. We do like that. He'll have to deal with the likes of Markieff Morris and Brown, etc. But how are you thinking Kevin Durant fits into your Saturday plans in our early foundational look at this Saturday slate?
The price tag's appealing, and obviously being a 4-game slate makes it more appealing, but I really just don't get to these Golden State guys very much, especially Durant. He's, in addition to Cousins being there and that taking some usage away from everyone, he's playing 100% of his minutes with Steph Curry now, which for the season, he's averaged about 1.25 fantasy points per minute, has about a 26% usage rate when he plays alongside Steph. That's not really what you're looking for in a tough matchup against Boston from a guy that's, over $9,000. So I think he gives you a pretty decent floor. It's just a matter of he'll probably be pretty highly owned because of the price tag and because of the slate. And I just don't know how often he actually goes out there and gives you a really good game.
All right. With Victor Oladipo out, we're going to see, I guess, Tyreke Evans. However, he doesn't play a ton of minutes. He has played under 20 minutes in 4 of his last 6 and in, 8 of his last 11. The last one after Victor Oladipo went out, he did get 26, almost 27 minutes. That's literally the most he has played since December 10th. He's priced up from 3,800 to 5,200 on Saturday. He has not topped, 27 fantasy points since Christmas. Are we going to go there?
It's really, really tough because if you remember when Oladipo was out earlier in the year, we saw Evans really struggle. For one, he never really got more than 28 minutes even in games he played well. But he also just really wasn't good. And a lot of that stemmed from him relying more on three-point shooting than getting to the rim. He's been doing a better job lately of getting to the rim, but he's still not finishing at the rim like he did in previous seasons. So I do think there's still concern there. The fact that the price tag is preemptively elevated already, and it's a difficult matchup with Memphis, means that I'm certainly going to be paying attention to ownership. If he is projected for high ownership, as I imagine he will be, then I think you can find pivots in guys like Taurean Prince or just other players, because there's certainly some risk with Tyreke Evans.
All right. Speaking of risk, we're going to go down to the bargain bin here at small forward. We have Furkan Korkmaz, who probably in theory should play somewhere between 22 and 24 minutes. However, in his last 6 games, he has 2 DNPs, played in 5 of them, and none more than 11 minutes. Now, the last time he did see this extended run, 25, 24, 28, 29 minutes, he topped 20 to 25 fantasy points in that stretch. He is our extreme discount dandy at the moment at 3,300. Is he someone that you will look further into for the deeper dive, or the deep dive, the article that you will be writing on Saturday behind the paywall?
Yeah, I'm going to have to really go through and try and map out the Philly rotation, because we've essentially seen Korkmaz kicked out of the rotation. We've seen Brewer take those minutes. With Embiid out, with Chandler out, I think they kind of have to play him. Like, Jonah Bolden can play, Jonah Bolden can take Chandler's minutes. Muscala, Amir Johnson can take the center minutes. Brewer takes, a bunch of Jimmy Butler's minutes, but I think it still probably leaves some run for Korkmaz. It's just a matter of how many minutes. So it's definitely something I'll have to map out before I write the article.
All right. Again, we just have 4 games, 8 teams, and I listed off 17 players that have injury designations or issues. So a lot will come out after shoot-arounds and the morning reports. Reminder, the games do not start until 8 o'clock on Saturday night. There are just 4 of them. You will get live before lock with one Fast Eddie Fair in a solo show covering everything that you need to know. That should go live around 7 p.m. over there on the Awesemo YouTube channel. As we look to power forward here, a couple guys we haven't talked about yet. John Collins, a lofty $8,000 price tag. He is going to be going against Portland. That's somewhat intriguing. And then at nearly half the price, at $4,800, Jaren Jackson on a back-to-back. But he gets that tasty matchup there against Indianapolis. As long as he can keep his hands to himself, he should be reasonably well. If you were choosing between the two of those at your early look, would you go with Collins at $8K or Jaren Jackson Jr. at $4,800?
I mean, I would lean toward Jackson at that price tag. Just, obviously there's a ton of risk that comes with it, especially going against an Indiana front court where he could be dealing with some Miles Turner and some Sabonis. But the price tag is just too low for someone who, whenever he's not in foul trouble, should play 30-plus minutes and is a productive player. There's also a chance that we potentially see Gasol sit on the second half of a back-to-back, which would make Jackson even more viable. So Collins, I think, is a really good play. I really like him as a player, but I just think the price tag on Jackson gives you more room for upside.
All right, here's 2 guys to compare going against each other. Draymond Green, 6,300. Of course, we do have DeMarcus Cousins in the mix. He's at 6,200. We'll talk about him at the center position. But Draymond and Al Horford, who was rested the last game, Horford's checking in at 5,700. This one is in Boston. If you had a preference, would it be Horford or Draymond?
I think it's really close. I think that I would give the slight edge to Horford because he's cheaper and he's really been playing well. Draymond had a good game against Washington also, but I'd give the slight edge to Horford.
All right, a couple guys that I'm sure Adam will dive into for the deep dive would be Mike Muscala. We'll have to see how those minutes shake out. That'll be amongst the Furkan Korkmaz, TJ McConnell. Good God, I'm hungry. I want some McDonald's. I never want McDonald's unless it's breakfast, which is the one meal I will eat at McDonald's. But you've got Muscala, you've got Jermichael Green, who comes into prominence if Gasol is out. And then Al-Farouq Aminu, 4,500 against Atlanta. I'm feeling some rebounds in his near future. Potential double-double there. We got to like that with the 1.5-point bonus on DraftKings at 4,500. Thoughts here as we exit the power forward position?
Yeah, I like the spot for Aminu. I think it'll be interesting to see how his ownership looks because hopefully people kind of are scared away by his most recent game where he was injured in the first half and then the game blew out against Phoenix. He only played 16 minutes. There's no reason to think that he plays less than 30 minutes here against Atlanta.
All right, let's close her on out here with the pivot position. The marquee player, 10,700, is one Nikola Jokic. He's not on a back-to-back. Well, Denver is, but he's not because he sat out for a suspension, defending his teammates with his pride, etc. on the line. He is at 10,700 going against a Joel Embiid-less Philadelphia team. If you're playing me on draft, I will have Joel Embiid on my teams, at least the ones I've drafted. Talk to me here about the Joker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously should be well rested. In a nice matchup against a Joel Embiid-less front court, there's really nothing not to like here for Jokic. He's just an absolutely phenomenal offensive player. Jamal Murray actually just got hurt on Friday night, went to the locker room, so potentially no Jamal Murray on this slate either, which would just put the ball in Jokic's hands even more and make him even better play. But regardless of Murray's status, I think that Jokic is just an absolutely phenomenal option.
All right. Well, hey, I do have Jamal Murray on 3 of the 4 teams I drafted, so at least I will be able to swap him out. Sadly, if you draft anyone with the doubtful or out tag, you cannot swap them out. But whatevs, live and learn. Let's see. Jusuf Nurkic, 8,600, cresting up among one of the higher price points that we have seen. We have not seen him there since the middle of January. He has had a down game, I guess, shall we say, against Phoenix, but they didn't need him. Adam, they controlled that game the entire way. They won 120-106. He played just 24 minutes. He had played 36, 32, 26, 28, 30 in his games coming into that. How are you feeling about one Jusuf Nurkic against that semi-soft Atlanta front court?
I love him here. We talked about it a lot. People like to look at Nurkic's minutes and say that they're inconsistent, but they're really not, as long as he's not in foul trouble and the game doesn't blow out. I'm pretty sure he didn't play at all in the fourth quarter of that game against Phoenix. So there's no reason to, think he plays less than 30 to 32 minutes here as long as Atlanta hangs in this game. And, if that's the case, then you're looking at what should be a very, very productive game from a guy who's been averaging about 1.4 fantasy points per minute. Obviously there's blowout risk with Atlanta going into Portland, but it's a 4-game slate and it's a great spot. So I'm really just not concerned about that.
All right, speaking of blowout risk, we're going to finish this one off with Dewayne Dedmon. Atlanta has been on a blowout one side or the other in 7 of their last 10 games. They have 3 favorable blowouts, 4 negative blowouts. They have won 4 of those 10 games, which is somewhat of a credit to them. His minutes are sort of back to where they were. He's in the mid-20s, so we could see him cresting a little higher in this matchup. Talk to me about Dewayne Dedmon as we close out the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty appealing price tag for him. It's nice where you can roster him at power forward as well. Should play around 28 minutes. He's right around a point per minute player. I'd rather go to a Paul Millsap potentially at the same price tag, or find money for Draymond Green, or I guess you can save money for Jaren Jackson. But I think it's a perfectly fine spot for Dedmon.
All right, that is going to do it for us. A short one here, but again, you're going to get at least a full hour of us covering the 4 games. Check us out on the Osmo YouTube channel around 11 o'clock. You can see us on Twitter. Make sure to follow give a like, follow us on the YouTube channel, and make sure to hit that notification bell because, hey, when you do, you will get to find out when all of these shows are coming on, and we've been dropping a ton of them. For those of you getting ready to look at NHL because, hey, the NBA All-Star break is coming up. That will be in Miami in just a couple weeks here. We've got a ton of NHL content, and we have Jay Kari put together a fantastic template, shall we say, a preview YouTube show of how to use Fantasy Cruncher for NHL. You get his articles and, better yet, projections, which have been very, very solid behind the paywall. Use that promo code EARLYBIRD, all one word. Sign up, 1 month, 50% off. You choose a Fantasy Cruncher add-on, and you get that as well. Slack and everything else, all the goodness is included. You want to follow us on Twitter, see Adam make fun of people, make fun of me for my poor draft choices. You can find Adam at ShipMyMoneyDFS. I am at EMACDFS. And, of course, it is Osmo_COM on the Twitter machine. With that, gamers, good luck.